Top 10 countries people never regret moving to. Quality of life may also encompass intangibles like job security, political stability, individual freedom, and environmental quality, in addition to the fundamental concepts of the wide availability of food, shelter, excellent education, healthcare, and employment. These nations provide their inhabitants with excellent care throughout all stages of life. The quality of life sub-ranking, which is based on an equally weighted average of scores from 9 country attributes that are related to the quality of life in a country, is part of the overall best countries rankings from US News. These attributes are affordable, a good job market, economically stable, family-friendly, income equality, politically stable, safe, well-developed public education system, and a well-developed public health system. Number 10, New Zealand. The scenic island nation of New Zealand is located in the Pacific Ocean southeast of Australia. It is influenced by both British and Polynesian cultures. With the Treaty of Waitangi, which was signed in 1840 and handed sovereignty to British invaders, early Maori settlers allowed an influx of European settlers. The majority of New Zealanders today, known as Kiwis after a local flightless bird, are of European ancestry. As homeland complaints are more freely discussed, the Maori, the nation's original settlers, who today make up approximately 14% of the population, have grown more proud. Since its independence in 1907, New Zealand has been governed by an independent parliamentary democracy with a prime minister, even though the British monarch continues to be the head of state. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern became the youngest female head of state in the world in 2017 after leading the Liberal Labour Party to victory. Number 9, Australia. The Australian continent is inhabited by the Commonwealth of Australia. There are also other islands in the nation, most notably Tasmania. Until the earliest British settlements of the 18th century, the area had been inhabited by native people for at least 40,000 years. Similar to the UK, Australia has a parliamentary democracy as its form of government. The executive is subject to the parliament, even though it divides its federal government into 3 arms: parliament, executive, and judiciary. Although Queen Elizabeth II continues to serve as the country's ceremonial head of state, all constitutional links to the United Kingdom were severed in 1986. Australia has been affected by British, Celtic, and American culture since the late 18th century. Nonetheless, immigration from non-English-speaking countries, mainly from Asia, has altered the country's demographic makeup and shaped its popular culture in recent decades. Number 8, Netherlands. The Netherlands, a coastal plain dotted with windmills emblematic of its growth around the water, is located on the periphery of Western Europe. The Rhine, Meuse, and Schelde are 3 significant European rivers that flow through Belgium's and neighboring Germany's important ports. Following years of Spanish and then French domination, the Kingdom of the Netherlands was established in 1815. The Dutch Antilles, a group of Caribbean island colonies, was dissolved in 2010. However, Aruba, Curacao, and Sint Maarten continue to be part of the kingdom. The inhabitants of the Netherlands, often known as Dutch people, have created what has long been seen as a tolerant culture, even though some politicians are increasingly raising concerns about immigration. The nation legalized same-sex unions for the first time in 2001, and the country has liberal policies regarding drugs, prostitution, euthanasia, and abortion. Today's strong rules that deal with hate speech and the denial of the Holocaust are one way that Nazism's legacy is still felt. Number 6, Finland. The history and culture of Nordic Finland, one of the world's most northern nations, are defined by its geography. Finland, with its enormous tracts of highly forested open territory, serves as a northern gateway between the west and the east. It is bordered by Norway, Sweden, Russia of the Baltic Sea, and the Gulf of Bothnia. Finnish and Swedish are both official languages of Finland, which is a multilingual nation. From the late 12th through the early 20th century, Finland was alternately governed by Sweden and Russia. During the Russian Revolution, the nation proclaimed its independence, and in 2017, Finland commemorated 100 years of independence. Finnish culture was crucial in creating a sense of national identity. The Kalevala, a 19th century anthology of ballads adapted from folk music, is credited for strengthening the Finnish spirit. Number 5, Norway. The Scandinavian Peninsula's westernmost nation, the Kingdom of Norway, is primarily made up of rugged terrain. The majority of its people reside in the southern region, close to Oslo, the country's capital. Thousands of miles of fjords, bays, and island shorelines make up Norway's coastline. Throughout the Viking Age, the Norwegians were active, developing a marine culture and founding towns in Iceland and Greenland. For a long time, Sweden and Denmark shared responsibility for Norway's fate. Norway won its independence from Sweden in a referendum in 1905. Although remaining neutral throughout both world wars, Nazi Germany nonetheless invaded and occupied the nation for 5 years. High-income Norway has a thriving private sector and a sizable safety net. Norway's economy grew after oil and gas were discovered offshore in the 1960s, and it is now one of the top exporters of petroleum in the world. Number 4. Switzerland. In the beginning, the Swiss Confederation was created in 1291 as a protective alliance between cantons. The Confederation broke away from the Holy Roman Empire in 1499. After years of warfare, the Confederation became a centralized federal government in 1848 thanks to a new constitution. Since that time, the nation has experienced a fair amount of peace. According to the CIA World Factbook, Switzerland has one of the greatest gross domestic products per capita in the world, low unemployment, and a skilled workforce. Low corporate tax rates, a highly developed service sector dominated by financial services, and a high-tech manufacturing industry all contribute to the nation's robust economy. Number 3. Canada. Canada is the second largest nation in the world after Russia, since it occupies nearly 2/5 of the continent of North America. Most of the nation's inhabitants reside within 125 miles of its border with the United States, where it is thinly inhabited. The vast wilderness to the north of Canada and its reputation as an immigrant-welcoming nation both have a significant impact on Canadian identity. The encouragement of all of the residents to respect their unique cultures is a point of pride for Canadians. Canada developed a national multiculturalism policy in 1971 that honors the nation's diversity. Canada is currently dealing with problems on a national level relating to issues with Indigenous people and residents of Quebec, a province with a large French-speaking population. Although the province has broad cultural and linguistic autonomy thanks to constitutional protections, aspirations for total independence come and go in waves. Number 2. Denmark. Denmark's capital, Copenhagen, is home to illustrious establishments like the Copenhagen Stock Exchange. The largest international airport in Scandinavia, a bustling port, a subway system, and the Øresund Bridge, which connects the city to Malmö, Sweden, all contribute to the capital's role as a hub connecting Northern Europe with the rest of the globe. Denmark has been governed by a constitutional monarchy since 1849. The current ceremonial head of state is Queen Margrethe Q, and the Prime Minister is Mette Frederiksen. The Folketing is Denmark's highest legislative body, and the citizens of Denmark elect its members. The Danish administration is viewed as being incredibly steady and open. Number 1. Sweden. Sweden has a history of being militaristic, but has always maintained its neutrality in times of conflict. Instead, dedication to public service, sustainability, and human rights has helped it become a reputable leader in international affairs. Sweden has a similar economic model to other Nordic countries. It is very capitalistic, with a sizable portion of spending going to public services. Tax rates have dropped, and a sophisticated infrastructure and transportation system help to equalize wealth distribution. They were once well above the global average. Its citizens have one of the highest life expectancies in the world, and healthcare and college are both free. The majority of Sweden's garbage is recycled. With an annual donation to humanitarian relief programs around 1% of their gross domestic product, Swedes are among the most giving people in the world. So this is the end of this interesting video. Do you like it? Openly submit your feedback in our comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.